Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
the
the
Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. We do have proof of, no, we did that. Members of the public who wish to speak shall each have 5 minutes to address the court regarding matters on the agenda or an item that is not on the agenda. Mr. Morgan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We talked about having a noise, about buying a noise meter, and I found a noise meter that will work for our situation. And I gave Laura Lynn a copy of this, and he put it in for this amount of money. So it's $25, $65. But this company's price is it was 18 something. We're going to have to buy a container that this thing goes in. So I just used what he put in as this price, $25.65. If you want to go ahead and approve that, I don't have a final number from the company yet. So we just use this price, or wait to get the final price and come back next time.
Now, if we were to approve that, I'm not understanding exactly how we're going to use that. Will that be, what are you?
I'm proposing that you're an environmental person would use this meter, and I will train him on this meter, because I've got one that I've used for several years, but it's pretty old, and it's not functioning right now. So we need a new meter. So I propose that you're an environmental person, take the noise readings in various places around the county, because we have so many gas compressor stations that put out so much noise. We've got 130 compressor stations in this county, and they're putting out a heck of a lot of noise, and I'm having to deal with it every day at my house. So it's a very important deal. We've had several people harmed by these compressor stations. Several have died, and we just got to get a handle on this, get the data together, so we can go forward with it. So if y'all would like to wait for me to get a more definite price, we can wait till the next time, next meeting. Or we can go ahead and approve this for $25.65, which costs y'all good. And here's what this meter looks like.
I have that.
And need antenna.
I'll talk to the environmental person, and then we will get back with you on that. Anyone else? If not, then we'll go to item number 1, which is to approve the minutes of the September 21st and September 29th meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. September 7th and 21st and 29th.
I'll say.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 2 is budget transfers and amendments.
The first sheet, Judge Grant, is the 22s for the fiscal year 22. The second page is for 23, just a couple on there. And then the third page is the budget amendments, and it's just moving the 86 fund from 22 to 23, because those are just donations and grant funds. So we just want to move them to
Things that we're not expending.
spend it, yes.
All right. And that's what we call the special, the special fund. Funds. On the second sheet, that transfer of funds into the Sheriff's Department was for the law enforcement equipment that we approved, and it's not, it looks like it's coming out of your budget, but it's not really, because we transferred money in there to cover that, so you're good on that.
Thank you. That's some tack equipment that's gonna be, that could be very useful.
All right. Any questions?
Have we already received it? Have we already gotten that equipment?
No, I think we just ordered it.
We did that in order to get a purchase order so we could get it.
Okay.
That, and it did have the training for, I guess, Wyman is who y'all are gonna train to train the rest of the deputies to use it.
Yes, we'll get 1 or 2 people trained, yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve the budget transfers and amendments?
I make a motion.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve and pay the bills.
Yeah, that's just what I was gonna say, net data's.
85,000.
That's divided up between all of the offices,
Right.
of course, but it is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had looked at some other programs in the past, and this is really not considered expensive according to what a lot of the others are. What's the one from Tyler? It was like 200
In
and
code or.
something
Yes,
thousand.
Yeah, it is expensive.
It's premature for me to stand up and say this, but Tyler Technologies is rolling out some type of rural program, and there's funding for it. I don't have all the information on it. Some other prosecutors' offices are talking about potentially making that jump. Again, I think at this point in time, I'm trying to gather some information, and I'll be presenting that. That's the Odyssey program that costs so much, but again, I think that there's at least been some movement to understand that rural counties, it is difficult to pay for that software, right? It's so expensive. And I know I've heard that there's some kind of funding out there. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's kind of on the radar.
That sounds great. And if the funding will continue from now on, we want to, sometimes it's kind of like other things. They get you hooked in and they give you a little discount here and then eventually you're in.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
certainly we'd want to look at it.
And not saying that's going to be an option for us by any means, but a lot of people seemed excited about the potential of being able to use something like that. So we shall see.
Good. We're always open for new and improved and cheaper options.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes cheaper may not be the best answer, but we surely will. I think they do have a great program.
In my world, theirs is the best.
Yes.
I'm not sure other offices at all how that program works, but for us, it's the top of the line. And I think it's also kind of like you said, kind of a gradual takeover of that program. And it may be to hook you in and kind of pay the price later on, not sure, but we're kind of seeing that movement.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
I'll make a motion to approve both deals.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. Item 4 is to approve the payroll. Beginning of the year, a lot of changes on the payroll, which are noted. Any discussion, or is there a motion to approve the payroll?
I'll make it motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 5 is reports. We do have a report from the tax office. This is for September. We have a Constable Precinct 2 report for September. Any other reports? If not, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make that motion. I'll say.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Number 6, burn ban. There was mention last time that there might be some consideration of putting that on.
We did.
We did put it on?
It
Okay.
needs to stay.
We need to leave it.
No action.
No action.
No action.
Item number 7, special road use agreements. We have one. Overweight for know you're gonna tell us on here what road, or is this for all?
No, that's
roads?
just for, yes, that's just for all of them, just a bond from Eagle that they,
For the county trucks?
yes, for county trucks.
Y'all have a copy of that?
On that,
We ever done this before?
I don't
We do it
remember.
every year?
Well, it's not every year, it's like due every 4 years. This is the first time that I've signed it. Pam said, at Eagle, she says the auditor comes in and signs it, so, but this is the first time, so it's probably 4 years, I'm thinking. We pay it every year, though. We pay $50 every year,
Every year.
yes.
Oh, we need all the way through. Okay.
We have a motion to approve this overweight bond.
It's for our trucks. So we can carry on, but yeah. And we'll still get a permit, text out for a permit. Wow.
You still get that put on the windshield of our truck?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm good with it. I'll make a motion to approve it.
There.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. I think that goes, that's why I just want to let you look at it. All right. Thank you. All right, now, number 8 is to approve the bonds and education certificates of the county officials and employees. We have one from for Christina Flannery, $5,000 bond. We have the cyber security awareness training certificates for Alicia Davis, Tammy Griffenberg, Melissa Santana. Is this different from the ones that we did on the computer?
Yes,
Okay,
that's required, that's through the state,
through the state,
Uh-huh.
okay. Those others were through tax.
yeah, for like our vital records.
Mhm. Okay, we have a motion to accept, to approve these bonds.
Make that motion.
I second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 9 is to approve invoice 1569 with Comm Fix for materials for the advocacy center job.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carried. All right. Item number 10 is to award a sealed bid for SBCA fill station for Teague Volunteer Fire Department.
We opened the bid yesterday at 2. There was one, and it was from Municipal Emergency Services, and it was for the amount of $69,974.08. And this was sent out to this company, and GrantWorks also sent it out to the, some underutilized businesses that's required for the grant funds. And so, and it was put in the newspaper and ran for 2 weeks.
And that is something that we have on our, already on our
Oh, it's within
list.
the budget.
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
for
we
the
did.
right amount.
Yeah, well, I'll make a motion, we accept that.
All right,
Go with that bid.
A second.
all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Number 11 is to discuss, I'm sorry?
I said, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Well,
Item number 11 is to discuss the fee schedule for solid waste deposited at the due transfer station. You have a copy of what our current rates are, and then there's been some revisions requested. We had shingles on the list, and I'm wondering if that wouldn't be advisable for us to take that off. Generally, if you have shingles, it's gonna be a big load, and they might as well take those right on to the Mackay landfill rather than filling our,
Did we get him some maps made for, to hand people?
I don't know that, have to ask.
I'll have to ask Karen if she
We
can.
probably should do that, because there's a lot of people that pull up that he has to turn down, and he tells them they need to go to the HAYA, that's the first thing they say. And if he had something he could give them, a lot of people get mad, and he's just trying to get them on out of there.
Yeah,
But they are bringing stuff that we can't take.
can't take.
And
So what do y'all
Wouldn't
think
be
about,
feasible.
yeah, that's a good idea. Will you check up on that and be sure? What about the shingles? Do you think we should take that off the list? But we already say, you know, nothing commercial,
Right.
Right.
I don't think we'll have many private homeowners wanting to dispose of shingles.
And they're okay with taking them if we did, I mean,
you're okay with taking the shingles?
that was my,
at my head.
but I mean, yeah.
It's never been an issue before that I know of. And there used to be a lot of them brought in, but it cut a lot out when we said no contractors.
Okay,
But then there's people sending people in there,
you're right.
and
Not the
if they're not the
contractor.
contractor, they're
Yeah.
just a farm hire guy
Yeah.
that's pulling there with his truck, and his trailer won't unload, somebody else is paying him to do it.
Yeah.
That's why we don't accept the shingles.
Okay.
Okay, you want to review the changes? Or we can still make changes, whatever y'all suggest.
We've come, you know, when he redone this, he come down on some of the prices. Some are not as much, but to me, they are more fair for our taxpayers. So I like the changes that he made on the sheet.
And I know one of the things that we're trying to do is keep this stuff from being on the side of the road somewhere. So it's a service.
We still taking tires, truck tires?
It's requesting no tires, but,
There's a pile of them down there.
yeah.
He told me the other day when he was in and did that right now he's not taking tires, is what he told me.
Until we dispose of the ones that we have.
That's what he told me.
I think,
What do you think about that? We'll be picking them off the side of the road and
Well,
still.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, well, we got, we've already, yeah, that's what. We
Pretty
got
good
a
pile.
pile started at the yard now.
They can haul or we can haul.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big pile of tires down there now, and you could sell those tires. I did that when I worked at TDC Jack. And there's companies that use those tires and burn them for energy.
mhm.
And that might
I don't know if they
be
come
something
get
to
them.
look at.
I don't know if they
But
can
we
come
did
get
check
them.
into that, and
Yeah.
those tires would have to be shredded down to a 1x3 size.
Mhm.
And I even looked into
No,
the cost of a
they
shredder,
would
but
buy
it's not
them as
feasible for our
is,
county.
and let them,
Shred them.
carrying a piece of shred them, yeah, and they use those, for energy, some of the plants that are around the house. And of course, when I sold ours, the guy said, well, I can't make any good money on that. I said, I don't care if you bid zero. I want them off the rest of the property. So one guy bid zero and nobody else bid, he got them. 1,000 tires.
On that last thing where it says no dump trailers, it looks like it's written on here, no large dump trailers. So we don't need to.
Yeah, what's large?
Mhm.
Remember what defines as large?
Yeah, just say no dump trailers.
What it said, no dump truck.
We're gonna have to put something on this new list about tires, so I don't see anything on
Okay.
When you see up here at the top, he's marked it out, if you look at that.
Yeah.
He's marked it out. He doesn't want to take tires, but that's just his request.
If there was, I wish there was a way that we could keep, when people did bring tires in there, that money stayed in a separate fund. And just stayed totally separate, because at $6 per car tire, it's only gonna cost us about $3 at the current time to get rid of them. Which, that big pile will be down there, for every one that we take and charge $6 for it, pays for getting rid of one out of that pile. And on the big truck tires, that needs to be increased a little bit, because it costs more to get rid of them now than it did, then we've got $11, we'd be losing money at that, so.
So, do we want to?
But if we had it in a separate fund, I guess what I'm saying, and I don't want to create a
Well,
nightmare, but
it
at least when we do pay a company to come down there and get them tires, we've got money sitting over there to.
We need to break even, kind of break even.
Exactly.
Well, I think we can address that when we look at how much it's costing per tire and just be sure we're charging that much.
Yeah, I think we're fine at 6 on the passenger tires, I think we need to go up to 14 on the.
14, okay,
Truck tires.
on the truck tires, all right, I'll put that back in.
And whenever we're ready, if we want to go ahead and get a load of tires, I mean, I know we've got enough tires up there to fill a 53-foot dry van.
Oh, yeah.
If we wanted to,
Make room.
yeah.
Well, I think it's time.
Plus what we have, like at our yard, I can take, there's probably 50 tires at the yard that we picked up
Mm-hmm,
and that need to go.
mm-hmm.
I just hate to take them down there and double handle them, you know.
Well, and see, that's where that comes in about if we have a fund, y'all aren't paying it directly out for them picking them up. So when the cost comes in, the cost is for y'all's tires and the ones they're picking up down there.
Right.
So it'd be kind of hard to keep up with that for the office, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured
So
this down there, we did collect 6, you don't collect 6 on.
Right, so as long as we have on here a large enough amount that we collect from the outside tires, that's probably the best we can do.
Okay.
All right, we'll do that, put the tires back on at 6 and change that other to 14. Okay. What else?
You gonna type in no shingles at the bottom?
Well, we took it off the list, we can type it in. I think probably is
Yeah, she's pretty.
no shingles. All right,
The couches and stuff, where we get in buying on that is some of the furniture stores that take people's old furniture when they deliver their new, and they'll wait till they get a dry van load full, and we'll bring it down there all at one time. And it really messes up the way that we stage out how often you have to have the dumpsters pulled out and stuff like that, when somebody comes in with more than what one dumpster will even hold, you know. We might have to address that.
well, and it's supposed to be no commercial dumping, and that would be commercial. It's a company.
We're not taking any refrigerators or freezers now.
Those are free on.
Yeah.
Says this site will not accept commercial solid waste haulers. If you know who they are. Anything else? We have a motion to approve the new rates as amended, which would include the tires that we're adding over this, no shingles.
I'll make a motion.
I'll say.
All in favor, aye. Motion carries. Item number 12, the COVID policy. We have been talking about that a little bit with the changes. We still do have some COVID that is viable issue. And so the request, I believe before, was to change that to 40 hours of COVID sick leave. And then that last, in order to get that sick leave pay, you must have a written medical document from a healthcare provider or proof of a positive test that you would take to the treasurer's office. And then an elected official, department head, or employee with confirmed COVID-19 may not come to or remain at work until after testing positive for COVID-19, the person has reduced symptoms and has been fever-free for a minimum of 24 hours prior to the return.
What do you think, Andy?
Our president said the pandemic's over. I don't think we need one. I don't think we need a policy.
Okay?
Just me. You sick, stay home where you got COVID, flu, stomach virus, whatever. You're running fever, you don't have common sense to know, stay at home.
Well, yeah.
If you well, come to work.
There we go with the common sense issue.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking, Lord.
Yes,
I mean, there's gotta be an end to this sooner or later.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta, you can't just,
And you can only get 40 hours in a year.
No, 40 hours, period. If you've already taken COVID sick leave, you can't take it again.
Okay, yeah.
So if,
One reason I
somebody's,
think that we ought to look at maybe having one is will this affect us on any grants, receiving any grants down the road?
no, I don't think so, because the Families First Coronavirus Response Act expired December 31st of 2020. There are employees that have not taken any COVID sick leave. And so that was the thing. A lot of people did take it, did have COVID and were able to take that. And so it was a benefit that if somebody now gets COVID and they didn't take it before, it won't be available to them. But
they still keeping track of how many cases are in our county currently, like it was?
I don't know, I'm not.
You know what I mean? Where we're at, is it even?
Right.
The library has quit packing, Karen.
The state does.
I will add that when somebody tests positive for COVID, the department's head called our office asking about policy procedures and what they need to follow. That's why I think it would be nice to have a COVID policy that said.
Well, and two, people want to conserve their sick time. So would this make somebody that had COVID think, I don't feel that bad, I'll just go to work. There's two sides to everything.
Yeah, there is.
To everything, so.
And you don't want them coming and getting up there sick. That's with the flu, or, I mean, that's
It is,
anything.
it is.
It's
We
not
don't
just
want people
COVID.
coming to work with the
Strep.
flu and all the rest of us getting it, but
I don't know, I just, there should be an end to it sometime.
it does. It does.
We just gotta make it so we end,
Mhm.
my opinion.
I do track it in my office for the ones that have taken it since the beginning of this starting. And, so, I mean, I don't track cases in Freestone County, just
Right.
who's used their
Yeah,
hours
you were
here.
tracking how
you know.
many hours. that people
So that is
use.
extra stuff. I mean, we're having to track it really for no other reason than making sure someone doesn't
Mhm.
go over their 80 hours.
Yeah.
Are we seeing anybody in our county that's been taking COVID leave?
Recently, there's been another little uptick recently.
Mhm.
I think that it was in a
Mhm.
certain department, but
Yeah, there was two in my department, and one of them was a relatively new employee that wouldn't have had enough sick time to be off as many days as she needed to be. So it did benefit her, and that was about a month ago.
Mhm.
and that was about, I was gonna say a couple days ago. Since then, I haven't had any more.
If we keep it, we could put, an expiration date on it, and then we would
I
have
mean,
to
yeah,
talk about it.
if we keep it, then when are we gonna revisit it, or?
Mhm.
that-
But you can put that expiration date too. Whichever,
Yeah.
whatever you want.
What do you think, Ed?
I don't know. We want a flu policy.
Send it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I'm with you.
Yeah.
You know,
All right.
When you go to the doctor, they say that, and you have COVID, they say treat it like the flu. I mean, that's how you treat yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Treat the symptoms.
yeah,
Right.
symptom.
We'll keep it, or shut it down? I'll just keep it as we talked about, or?
If we keep it, I think we ought to put an expiration date on it.
Right.
October 15th.
You really don't want
Yeah.
We're just gonna put it in this stuff, everybody move on.
Okay.
But,
You did. Might make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I say,
I don't know how to word it.
To terminate the COVID sick leave policy. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. All right. ARPA funds. We're taking care of one of them today. The volunteer fire department.
Judge Grant,
We have,
the request from Fairfield Fire, for their side-by-side, we've got specs, and looking at the buy boards, the, HGAC buy board, they really don't have a big selection hardly at all of side-by-sides. And so I had talked to Laney, at the fire department about it several weeks ago, and we talked about bidding this out. And he figured that it would probably be the best bet. I said, well, y'all need to make sure you get what you need and want, you know. And so, anyway, they put some specs together, and then they need this attachment on there. Jeannie knows more about what it is, but it carries the water, I think. And this side-by-side lets them go down fence rows, places they can't get with trucks, to fight the fires. So, anyway, the only thing that we would need to do, if y'all wanted to do today, would be to, you know, approve going out for sealed bids for this, so.
do they have a side by side now? Does anybody know?
We do.
Fairfield does not.
Fairfield does not.
No.
There are some departments in the county that do, but we don't.
Two does, yeah, okay.
about what is the cost for that?
Well, I don't have the quote, just,
the initial
Yes.
plan was to try to keep it at about 33
Mhm.
for the unit and the slide in. Is that doable, Brian?
It depends on what you get, really.
Yeah. How much is
What
just
do
the
y'all
slide
have,
in
Brian?
part?
Sir?
What do y'all have?
We have a 2011 Polaris with a 60-gallon skid in it, so, but I'm sure they've gone way up since
Oh, yeah.
we've got
Oh,
them.
yeah, you need to get one. That's another thing.
Right. I mean, I have no idea what,
I will say that, that they were wanting to go with the Can-Am because it's got 6 wheels. And so you can, when the weight is on the back, and this is one of the things that some of the TIG guys told us, that if they were able to do it, they would do the 6 wheels because of the weight that you put on the back with that water and everything is real tough on those side-by-sides. And so that was why to go with the Can-Am, because it's the only one right now with the 6 wheels.
and I think like the 6x6, they have a little more length, that you can put a Stokes basket on there if you need to carry someone else.
And the skid they were going with does have that capability of being the fighting the fire, and also the Stokes basket. So if you did have to go into the woods, which we've had to do to pick up a hunter that has fallen out of a stand or something, you have that capability, where before we had to hand total mount.
Just guessing, I would say between 30 and 40. I mean, that's just off the top of my head, so strictly a guess.
All right, and we need a motion for what then?
To go out for sealed bids
To go out for sealed bids
for the side-by-side.
You have that written yet? No?
I didn't do it, it was just handed to me a while ago.
The motion is to go out for sealed bids for a side-by-side with,
And.
With the pump and tank and trailer, so,
And-
But there's two different people you're gonna be buying it from, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be cheaper if you bought the ATV from people who sell ATVs and the slide in from people who sell the slide ins.
The trailers and people who sell trailers.
Yeah.
Three
You
different.
may have to have a special trailer made for it to haul it.
No.
You might. It depends
I
on
think they
how
get a
much-
16-foot
How many
trailer.
gallons of water's gonna be in it?
With short ramp, yeah.
Probably around 80 to 85 is what most 6x6s will carry. So. We talked about later on maybe getting one and do like a 14-foot tandem to haul it or something like that. So I'd at least get a tandem axle trailer.
Yes.
But even a 2-seater Polaris down here takes up a 16-foot trailer.
It fills our 12-foot trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't haul them on a 12. I mean, if you do, you better not have a drop tailgate. Because ours, we run into that, I had a 12-foot, it wouldn't fit, so I had to get another trailer. From there.
I got a Can-Am, I got it on a 14-foot trailer, heavy-duty 14-foot trailer, and I mean, there's some room, but it's just a regular,
Because
Single-
we may be
single
able to
seat.
get on the buy
The
board.
trailer bid that he was part of it.
Right.
Let's just go out for bids on this.
you get the trailer made over, you
There even was
get the trailer made in Maine.
That's where I got mine. That's where the cheapest thing goes.
About one big day in corn.
there was even an idea, and I'll just throw it out there for y'all, but, maybe getting with the FFA and seeing if they would make that trailer, but we didn't know how that would work with the county purchasing it, so to keep the money.
That'd have to be-
That would be tricky,
yeah,
probably.
yeah, let's just do the
That was that.
Side by side.
Just the side-by-side.
And the slide in.
yes.
What's, is that the slide in?
Yep.
Okay.
We got it? All right. Who's gonna make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Try to make our motions as clear as we can. All right, anything else on the ARPA funds?
This, are we gonna be able to do this with the water co-ops?
That is still in the discussion
Okay, that was
stage.
my question. I mean,
Yes.
they've been called, I had a couple of them call
Oh,
me,
yeah.
wanna know what's going on. I don't wanna tell them until we know.
Well, that's why we need to kind of firm up and be sure we're good.
Now, well, we've got 10 on here, can we go over which,
Yeah, cause I was looking at the list, and
I'd
I
like to
was
go ahead and put them in this down here.
We have another sheet for that. Can we go get the other sheet?
The list I have, I only have 7.
That's what I was thinking, that's when I seen 10.
Yeah.
So we're in the top.
seven there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, those, they're small, and.
Yeah,
They
the
put-
one ever question was only 22,000, for the original bid.
But,
What about Clay Hill, is it on there?
Yeah,
yes,
That murder.
but anyway, he applied with TCQ, whoever they are, that were just mandated them to have one, one well and services done. He said, we don't have the funds to do that. And, he said they denied his, he tried to get a
Exemption.
exemption, they denied it.
I don't think he's gonna open that can of worms and give nobody an exemption.
And they're adding new ones a little bit along, but I mean, I forget what remember, but they sure provide service for this part of the county.
Yeah, no, I mean, they need to be tended to, and like I say, theirs is,
That was
Third,
one
third.
improvement, so didn't it?
No,
Didn't hurt one improvement?
I'm talking about Donnie, I'm talking about Donnie.
Yeah.
Donnie's generator's gonna be less than, the rest of it's gonna be pretty much the same size.
I didn't know whether we was doing a flat fee or, giving them all so much, or,
Figure out how to do it to them.
yeah.
You know, we had talked about the sub-recipient aspect of it, rather than buying a generator, if we did
Give them money,
give them money,
yeah.
flat amount, but it would have to, there's a lot of requirements in here as to what we have to meet. I think probably you have to make the check payable to the vendor, and they have to be sure that they have advertised the correct way. That's the main thing, I think, isn't it, Karen, that you have to look at
Yes.
from that perspective. So, that's one thing, but here's the list. You know, we did talk originally about 7, but then we added on
Okay.
some other things that we wanted to look at. Joint enterprise, Winkler. That's the kind of things that are still up in the air.
I had Point Enterprise on at 7, I think Kirby and Winkler are my two.
Yeah, that's the two I didn't have, and I looked, and I had penciled them in, but that's
And we
not.
never received a request.
From
Did we?
Point Enterprise just basically just called me and said that, they.
But Kirby and Winkler, I never did see where they requested what they needed, whether it was a generator or what size or anything.
You know, Butler has been the one water supply that we have, always approved him as the one to get the community block development grants.
That's
And I know
South
that
Freestone.
South
South
Freestone
Freestone
has,
has requested.
has requested,
Sponsor them this year.
and, there might be others when we put it on the agenda to decide who,
So we only do one
who
per
wants.
county.
One per county. But
I know with all the real estate, I mean, they're getting hit pretty hard.
they are,
Yeah, they're running out of water,
yeah.
line size.
Yeah.
But saying that, to say that, you know, Butler has been able to get,
In the past.
in the past, a lot of funds, from those grants. So, you know, they may not be, everybody always needs more money.
Sure.
I'm not saying that, but they may not be in quite as critical of a financial, need as some of the others do right now. It's something we have to look at, think about as we're giving up these funds. Okay, so that's where we are. We need to make a decision about those things. if we did the subrecipient, we would surely have to work closely with these water systems about their procurement. I don't know, other than us doing it, I don't know if, we could be,
That's sticking their neck out
a little bit, I didn't know how to say that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, because if they don't comply and do everything that's right, then
and we worry about that on the things that we're doing.
right, yeah,
You know,
we're,
right
we're,
now,
you know, we're trying to
that's-
jump through hoops.
Yeah.
We just have to have some kind of agreement with
And there is a subrecipient agreement, and the one that Grant Works had given us the copy of it, it's about that big.
This is it,
them. Okay.
this is it.
But we need that to cover ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. But even if we think we're covering ourselves and they don't do it right,
You're right.
when the time comes,
Yeah.
Well, so is that for them to fill out or us to fill out?
we would fill it out. We'd have to fill it out. They just have to
You
agree.
just fill it out, the information they give you, put on there.
Well, that's true, too.
Well, what I was gonna say is, you know, they have, like South Freestone County, they have somebody that's their go-to for legal and for this kind of stuff, and it helps them with grants, and if that person could fill it out, and we fill our part out, and Grant Works would be the one to approve, I guess, that it's filled out correctly.
Right. But we'd have to have, we'll have to have, of course, one for every
For every,
department.
South Freestone probably does, but I don't know about, Curtin, Port Enterprise, or William. I know Butler does because they've got those community block grants before. And don't we, if they would all have someone that would do the, notices and bids and all that stuff for them.
Judge, regarding the concern for the risk, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, can you ask them for a bond to cover any non-compliance, non-action? That's just a question, I don't know. Help mitigate the risk?
it just,
I
it
think
just
the
stick,
main
you just
thing,
stick
I
there.
think the main thing is they have to follow those 2 CFR 200 guidelines, and regardless of anything,
And
and so.
they've got certain guidelines they've got to go by anyway with, is it TCEQ over there, is that who's over there?
They, yeah, they do. But so, that's why we thought if we could take a step back and just put money rather than buying the generator and doing,
We
being
might not,
responsible
we
for
might be worried
that.
about something that's not that, because they have to comply that, they're so regulated about TCEQ that they've got their use.
They're regulated as to how they're put in and
Yeah,
everything.
Right.
They are.
they may be used to that, they might be worried about it.
Maybe so, maybe so. Do we want to make a decision on some of this today, or do we need to find more information out, and if so, what?
We definitely need to find out how we can just give them the money.
Yeah.
Because like South Freestone County, the generator they're requesting, they've already ordered it.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to be here any day.
Well,
It's too late for us to go out for bid and get this one, you know.
did John and them about already got one?
Ward Prairie has.
Right?
Yes. Ward Prairie.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause they went to the bank, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Pleasant Grove is in the process of a large project, and they are working on getting that, all of that done also.
Judge Grant, I had mentioned to Jennifer with Grant Works about her coming, and that way she was gonna come and visit with us about everything that's going on, but if she could come
And talk to us about this.
Come talk to us.
Let's have her at our next meeting. How
about that.
When she comes in.
That'd be good.
Yes. That way she can answer any questions that might come up.
Approve something we can't.
Good, good. Okay.
How much of this money can we put in textbooks right now?
Of the American Rescue Fund.
As I say, both the ambulances and the 4 police cars, so
Yeah.
And the generator
about
money?
$840,000 at least.
Generator money?
And the generators.
Well, and I contacted both companies, this must be his deals this morning, and Casey with Waukesha said that, he's turning his stuff in, and there's 2 different people that'll be getting with us on the bid, and
And when we say textbook, we're gonna do it with this new company?
No.
I thought y'all wanted to keep it separate. The reason for doing the new company was to keep from,
To
keep
keep it separate.
it separate.
Now, we can
The whole
open
fund's
another
separate.
account, like we have our general fund, and then we have road and bridge, precinct 4, precinct 1, and we can do American Rescue, Freestone County.
Okay, I
American
thought
Rescue.
y'all didn't want to do it in that.
Well, we can do
because-
that, think about it, because we can have set different accounts,
Okay.
So that way we
Do
won't
that.
become legal.
and it won't be commingled.
They pay more money.
Perfect, all right. How much do you want to put in there?
All we can. All we can till we need it. You get it out the next day.
Because this is a slow process.
Oh, yeah.
We were looking at putting them in CDs, and so Jeannie had went out for bids or whatever, and so we had a new bank that come in at the same price as our current bank. But I told her, I said, we need to make sure the money, we've got it secured, and we get a monthly report, and so we're not gonna be able to do that without a depository contract, and so we have a depository contract with someone else, so that's where we are on that. We were gonna do 4 or $500,000 CDs, so she just got a text from that bank, and they were gonna need a depository contract.
If you take that CD out, you pay a penalty, correct?
No,
Now, is that for the ARPA funds you're talking about?
yes.
All right, and not put it in textbook?
Right, I mean, this is before, remember when we talked?
Before, yes, okay.
Yes, and so I just said, just verify that we're gonna have that money is gonna be, we're gonna have some securities pledged against it. And so he said, if we do that, we've got to have a depository
I think
contract.
$1.5 million, probably at least.
Like this money right here shouldn't go to a CD, because when we need it, we need to be able to automatically get it.
Right.
And we could have done that in the CDs also. We could pull it out early with no penalties. They were not gonna charge us any penalties or
That's the
interest.
main thing.
And then we were just gonna get a little bit more money, but we can do the tax pool and set up another account.
And at that time, the CDs were like 2.1 interest, and the tax pool wasn't that high, but now the tax pool, they
Because you
just.
get it back out.
went
Yeah,
over
you
that.
can.
Yeah.
I think the road and bridge money, y'all start spending that pretty quick, don't you?
I started yesterday.
There you go. All
I
right.
think other than
Maybe
that, the 70,000,
One
for
eight
T,
two, something.
and 104,000 for working.
But you take the generator money, the car money, the ambulance money, that's $1 billion.
Mhm. But the water money we can put in there too, because that's gonna be a while, probably. And we can get it out quick. Let's do 2.
2 of the American Rescue, 2 million.
What do you think?
Tax pool.
Tax pool.
I'll make that motion. Is that what we need?
But 2.2.
We will have to set up that sub-account, so, or we will have to set up that sub-account. I don't know, I'll figure out what that requires.
You actually could put 2.2.
2.2. And it still leaves you the funds on the road and bridge and what we just approved for TIG and Wortham. Which the Wortham deal, that's gonna be, how far out is that truck?
Pretty close, I mean, he said October this year.
That's
So
what
they
I was
already
thinking.
had the truck, so,
But we can get it.
Yeah,
And then-
2,000,002, is that what you're saying, Andy?
Yeah, is that what y'all came up with?
That's what I came up with.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
All right, is that a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, yes.
One more thing. So I was looking at this again, since I just received that, and then if that 16-foot trailer, if it's around the 8,500 price range, it may be where these two, the trailer and the slide-in or whatever, we could, if they could get us 3 telephone quotes, would be all we would need, and we wouldn't have to do the sealed bid just for the side-by-side. So if it's,
That's all coming.
4,500. If you get one, now, mine, I got the 16-inch tires for 7,000 with heavy axles.
Mine had 10 flat tires.
But even
heavy axles.
Yeah, 7s.
It had a tailgate that goes down, and it's like 2,500.
but even at that those prices, we still just need
And
telephone.
all of that would come
All
through,
the heavy stuff.
either HD,
And it was,
whatever, or the buy board of some sort.
No, they could just call and get telephone quotes.
Because there's no selection on HGAC, she was saying earlier.
Right, but they could just get telephone quotes, because in our purchasing policy,
Okay, does that fit within the ARPA guidelines that
yes,
you can do that?
yes, and they go with our, you know, if it's under 50,000, she's got a copy of our purchasing policy. So, depending on the price of it, and if it's less than 10, we can, do telephone quotes. So that would say, that would cut out on all of the sealed bids.
yeah.
Okay. So that would, what would need to be on that motion then?
The motion would just be to go out for sealed bids for the side-by-side.
That's it.
That's it? Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Well, I think we've already made
I
it.
think we already done.
Yeah.
We didn't change it.
Just leave off the slide in or slide out or whatever.
Oh, okay.
We'll do telephone quotes on it.
Okay. Who made that motion?
Okay, motion for sealed bid for side-by-side with pump, tank, and we were saying trailer, but then y'all said do this trailer separate.
Okay.
Do the line separate.
Will made the motion and Clyde, seconded.
Would you like to, can you amend the
Can
motion?
we amend our motion? How does that work, Second?
Yeah. I mean,
And or rescind.
Rescind, let's rescind that motion.
Rescind,
Rescind that motion. You make a motion to rescind it,
Make a motion to
and you
rescind
second
it.
it, you ever seconded it? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Now make a new motion. Perfect.
I make a motion to go out for sealed bid on the side-by-side.
There you go.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
And is that a second?
I second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. All right.
okay, so that was Honor and McSwain.
Any comments from Commissioners Court members? If there are none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Motion is second. Ms. Al,